All right, geometry 4-3, rotations. All right, this is another one that we started with a little mini lesson in 2-4. So here's a 2-4 review. Now the thing it did add here was we have counterclockwise rotation, which is what we learned. We also have clockwise rotation. All right, so counterclockwise rotation. This is counterclockwise. Versus clockwise rotation. All right. And what are we rotating with? Well, we're rotating through our coordinate grid. And when you have your coordinate grid, you have quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so the rules, okay, are based on the counterclockwise movement of how things move from quadrant 1 around counterclockwise. All right, so counterclockwise, 90 degrees. You flip your numbers and the sign in front of your new x changes. Well, if you think about it, when you go from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2, what changes signs is, of course, your x. And then if you go to 70 from here, okay, well, what becomes your new y changes sign, and when you go into quadrant 4, your x is still positive, but your y is now negative. So these do correspond with how they move counterclockwise or clockwise. Just think about how, if you had a point, how it would change. All right, sign-wise. So when you do your assignment today, it's actually going to ask you what coordinate you end up in. Okay, so we're going to rotate, and when we rotated, originally, we rotated about the origin. Okay, so these rules work perfectly when you rotate about the origin. But what happens when you don't rotate about the origin? You rotate around something else. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so we have a triangle, and we have these 3 vertices. Graph triangle ABC and its image after a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about C. Okay, C is not at the origin. Okay, so first step, a graph triangle ABC. Okay, done. All right, so it says map the center of rotation to the origin. So the center of our rotation, we are rotating about C. We have to move C so that it temporarily is at the origin. All right, so what rule are we going to follow? So to map the center of the rotation to the origin, we're going to translate C to the origin, then translate their other points using the same rule. So how did we get from C to the origin? Well, let's see, x, we subtracted 2, and y, we subtracted 1. So we're going to follow the exact same rule for point A and point B because we want the whole thing to translate and shift at the same rate. All right, so the x minus 3 minus 2 more, minus 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. All right, minus 2 minus 2 more is minus 4. Okay. And 4 minus 1 is 3. All right, so we have how our new points with the whole thing shifted so that the center of our rotation is now at the origin. So now we can follow our rules. Okay, so we're going to rotate 90 degrees about the origin now that we have shifted and translated the whole shape so that our rotation point is at the origin. What we did was we took our new locations of x, y. We're going to follow our rule. 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Okay, 90 degrees clockwise. We start out with our point. We flip our numbers and change the sign. Okay. So we're going to flip our numbers, change this sign. Flip our numbers, change this sign. All right. So this is our secondary location right here. But remember, right now, C is at 0. C is not actually at 0. So now that we have the rotation, now we have to translate it back to where it started from. Well, not where it started from, but we have to rotate it back the same amount we rotated it to get it to the origin. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so if we, to move C to the origin, all right, if we had to subtract 2 from the x to get it to the origin, to go back, well, positive 2. So x plus 2 to put it back. And the y, we had to subtract 1. All right, so to put it back in the appropriate location, we're going to add 1. Y plus 1. All right, so currently we are at 1, 5, 3, 4, 0, 0. Okay, so this is when C is at the origin, but we don't want C at the origin. We want C at 2, 1. All right, so plus 2, plus 1. Plus 2, plus 1. All right, so here it is. Our original shape rotated about C 90 degrees. All right, so it does have multiple steps. So that means you kind of need to show your steps when you're doing this assignment. All right. So take it one step at a time. Use your notes. Follow your rules. Good luck.